Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you about how you can make 2023 your best year ever. Now normally in this channel we talk mostly about money and investing, but actually I think you have to look at it holistically at your life to get better in order to also become a better investor and in the process make more money. But you can't focus on the money if you don't focus on yourself getting better. And I think the start of a new year always is something special to get focused and really reflect on the previous year and look ahead to the new year of what you can do better. And for myself and what I can only recommend to you to really focus on in 2023 are three things: your physical health, your mental health, and creating over consuming. So let's dive into each of those areas. Number one, and that's your physical health. And honestly, for myself, is probably the most important in my life, even more than my family or my loved ones, because actually, if I'm sick, I'm actually a burden. I cannot help them. I cannot be useful for them, right? And that's why I think it's so important that you look after your health so you can perform as your very best. I mean, just remember when you felt really bad, you had a bad cold, some huge headache, you just literally under the blanket, and imagine that's a chronic issue that prohibits you from achieving your goals. Now, obviously, there are a lot of factors that are beyond our control. Things like accidents, etc. But I think a large percentage of the probability of being healthy is within our control. And I think that's why it's so important to look after those aspects. So when we drill down into physical health, I think it comes down to three essential areas. And no, these are not supplements or courses that you need to buy to get healthier. It comes down to three basic things. That is sleep, nutrition, and exercise. That's basically all you have to do in order to be physically healthy. I think if you really adhere to those, you can be well ahead of so many other people out there. And it's so interesting. We're obviously being bombarded with diets, with sleeping gadgets, with things to improve our exercising level, etc. and to make it more convenient to lose weight. Ultimately, we all know the truth, what we have to do. It's not rocket science, right? Yet we make it so complicated. We spend money to get a private coach. We spend money to get a specialized bespoke diet, but it ultimately is so very simple. Yet we get sidetracked so easily because there are so many temptations out there. So I think if you really understand that health should be your top priority, you really reconsider your choices and your priority level. If you are diabetic, you better take your insulin, otherwise you're gonna have an issue, right? But if you have a fun night out, have too many drinks, eat too much junk food, nothing really happens, right? You live your normal life, but you do this consistently over time and it will show. And that's why for me, I really want to focus on these three things, starting with sleep and really take this serious. I know in the hustle and grinding culture we live in, everybody says sleep is for losers. You can sleep when you're gone. But honestly, if you don't sleep enough, you've all experienced it yourself. Once you had insomnia or jet lag or you couldn't sleep and you only slept 2-3 hours, I mean, next day, your brain functionality is definitely not the same than if you had a proper sleep. And I don't think there's a right or wrong, but definitely experts agree it should be anywhere from 7 to 8 hours. You also don't want to sleep too long because that can also fatigue you and slow you down, but you definitely don't want to be sleeping consistently less than 6 hours because that will impact your performance. So for me, the sweet spot is around 7 to 7.5 hours. And more importantly, you want to have a sleeping schedule. You don't want to go to bed one time at midnight, one time at 9 p.m. You want to have a strict sleeping schedule so your body gets used to it and knows what's coming up and you can adhere to it. And then you wake up also, more importantly, at the same time. More or less, after a while you will see your body actually automatically gets used to it. You might not even need an alarm anymore, which is amazing. Now there are a lot of sleep hacks out there. Obviously people say you should be using blue light blockers when you have the screen in the evening. Ideally no screen before bedtime. I personally use Night Shift, an Apple device. There's also Flux, which kind of reduces the amount of blue rays coming from your screen, so that's better for you to sleep. But one thing I started using recently, and that's drinking chamomile tea just before sleeping. And honestly guys, I don't know what's in there, but it's really sleep inducing and I sleep so much better and faster because I used to roll left and right in the bed before sleeping, and drinking that tea honestly helps me a lot. It costs literally nothing and it's natural because I'm not really into substances and chemicals, etc. There are all these pills, sleeping pills out there, and I'm always trying to stay away from this. So having a natural product for me really works well and definitely something I will continue focusing on and have that consistency, not to have those kind of wild swings in my sleeping schedule. Secondly, and that's nutrition. You heard the saying, abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. So you can exercise as much as you want. If you eat the wrong food, you're never gonna lose the weight that you always wanted to lose. And honestly, I can say the same about myself. Now, obviously, I'm not obese or anything, but honestly, I do have a few extra pounds that I'm trying to get rid of for quite a while, and I'm exercising pretty much every day, like really committedly, but I just can't seem to get rid of those. That's really down to my diet. I'm a huge bread lover, pizza, burgers, whatever, any junk food, you sign me up, I love it. So that obviously doesn't work if you're really serious about toning down, and not just for the looks, but for me, I want to do it for mental clarity. So recently, actually, I started doing a keto diet. Now, again, I'm not a dietitian, and everybody, I think, has to find their own way. But for me, what I found worked so far. I think I lost in 10 days around 5 kilograms. So it really seems to be working for me, and I hope I can endure this. And I think it's important to have a diet that's not just something you do for a week, a month, 2 months, but something that's part of your lifestyle. Because otherwise, you're going to have this yo-yo effect. You go on and off. You start something, you break off, and then again, it doesn't really work. It should be part of your lifestyle. And keto really allows me to eat things that I love, but in a certain moderation. Basically, you're going to be eating much more proteins and fats. Surprisingly, fats can be good for you, but you'll be cutting out most of your carbohydrates, and the carbohydrates also increase your blood sugar, your insulin, etc. So it's actually, not so good to eat bread and pasta, etc. And by having fats and proteins, you have most of the nutrients that you need to survive and grow and shine. And for me, what I found is that I definitely start losing some belly fat and also get better mental clarity. And I don't have these cravings anymore that I need something sweet to get my blood sugar up. Or moreover, after heavy lunch, sometimes you felt so drowsy, you needed a nap to just recover. And by following that diet, I don't have that anymore. So yeah, it's not easy, but it's doable. And I plan to continue this to achieve my goal of finally hitting 80 kilograms, which I haven't been for, more than 15 years, to get back into the shape that I visualize myself when I close my eyes. And that's purely for myself, because I feel comfortable when I look at my pictures in the past. When I was lean, I really preferred that look and I felt better. And that's why I'm really working on that. And the last part of physical health is, of course, exercise. Now, too many people think exercise is the most important, but actually, as I said, if you don't sleep enough and you eat bad, all the exercise in the world will actually be detrimental to you. In fact, in the gym, you're breaking down the body tissue. You're not getting stronger in the gym. You're getting stronger in the recovery process when you sleep. When the muscle tissues rebuild themselves, that's when you get stronger, not in the gym. There you're actually breaking down things. You stress your body, and then in the recovery phase, you're getting stronger in the process. And that's super, super important. Now, when it comes to exercise, honestly, guys, it really doesn't matter what kind of exercise. Now, obviously, if you have specific goals that you want to achieve, you want to bulk up, then the gym is good. If you want to lean down, I think more cardio is good. So it really depends on what kind of goals you have. But ultimately, I think most important that the body moves. And that can even be a brisk walk for half an hour with your dog around town. Not just a slow walk, but a bit faster. And that's totally fine. We don't have to all be marathon runners or start squatting 200 kilograms. I think that's absolutely not the goal here. But what's important, I think, daily exercise. Because for me, what I felt when I skip one day, sometimes I feel, well, I skip one day, another day of skipping exercise won't really hurt. And not only that, once you skip a day, you already feel a little bit bad in your mindset by having broken a streak, that at the same time you feel, well, if I didn't go to the gym, I might as well order the pizza, right? Because, why not? It's already a kind of cheat day, so you might as well. On the flip side though, once you exercise and work out, you're not gonna have some greasy food because you wanna have something healthy in your body. You're in that whole mindset, you feel good, you wanna feed your body some good nutrients. So it's really connected. All of those 3 points go hand in hand. And while it's so easy to do, it's just as easy not to do, right? And that's really the danger. And that's why I think you have to make it top of mind, your top priority, if you really want to follow it for the entire year, not just for the first month when everybody starts posting on Instagram that they're starting a new gym routine. You want to make it part of your lifestyle to stick with you. Secondly is the mental health aspect. And that's obviously in recent times been more and more talked about. And I think it's very good. It's very important that we look after our mental health as well. And that's a huge topic in itself. And there are many experts out there. I'm definitely not an expert on that. But for myself, the biggest mental clarity and freedom what I got was changing the people I hang out the most and the topics and conversations we're having. Because often what happens, people still keep with their friends from many, many years ago, which they've actually outgrown, but for whatever reasons, they still stick together and they keep on talking about old things, computer games, gossiping about the news or some drama that happened. And you're not really getting out of this. If, for example, you surround yourself by entrepreneurs, successful people, CEOs of companies, they have different topics, they have different conversations. And by being involved in this, automatically your thinking, your mind changes accordingly. So I think it's super, super important that you choose your environment carefully. Now, obviously, you don't want to go out there and cut off all your friendships. Some of the friendships, I have friends that were my neighbors when we were 5-6 years old. We still hang out with each other, but they've also grown. I can see that they're investing in themselves and they want to do better. And that's great for me to see, right? But if you had a lot of negative people around you, and that can even include family members, people that don't believe in your vision, right? A lot of family members, they're more conservative. When you tell them you want to be an influencer or build an online business, they might really doubt you and talk you out of it. And that's often what holds people back. And I think that's such a shame. And we need to choose our closest circle wisely. And that's very important. Another big aspect for myself getting into a better mental state is by consuming less news. I used to read a lot of news 6-7 times a day, but that is only filled with negativity, right? Because negative headlines is what gets clicks. Nobody really cares about positive news. So most of it is negative. So consuming it many times throughout the days on different platforms, that's naturally gonna put you into a bad mindset. And when I speak to my grandparents, they're saying to me, Kai, back in the days, life was so much better, so much easier, not so many bad things were happening. And honestly, I think there were worse things happening. So reducing the amount of news you consume can definitely increase your clarity and your positivity in your mind. Now, obviously, we can't be oblivious to what's happening in the world, right? So I'm not saying cut out completely news, even though it would be good, but we still need to know what's going on. Obviously, a lot of us are investors, so we want to see how the market's doing, how things are developing, the macroeconomic world is developing. So you need to read the news to a certain extent, but also make sure you're reading the right news. You don't need the latest entertaining and gossip news, but focus on business, economic news, things that really add value to your life and make you smarter and provide you with information that you can use to make smarter decisions, become a better investor, or make better business decisions. Now, of course, there's so many other great things like journaling. People love it. Personally, I have tried it. It doesn't really work with me, but I know a lot of people who do, and it works wonders for them. Another thing is meditation. I'm kind of on and off with meditation. I tried many times. I love it for a while, but then I stopped. So I haven't really found a way yet to make it part of my lifestyle. I still want to do it one day, but right now I'm not 100% there. One non-negotiable that I do every single morning is in the shower, and I always finish my shower on the coldest setting you can do. And in that minute, I think of 3 things that I'm grateful for on that day. And ideally, every day it should be 3 different things. It should be things and people included in that. So that's really for me something where I find inner joy, where I reflect on past experiences, people that helped me in my life, things and people that I'm grateful for, such as you for hitting the like and subscribe button. Truly appreciate it. But yeah, that brings a little smile in my face, and that really reminds me that I'm already in a good and lucky position in my life. And the last big focus for myself for next year is creation over consumption. Now, most likely all of us are over consuming, especially social media, right? It's so easy. It's like a black hole. Once you go into Instagram or even worse, TikTok, I mean, once you open the app, you start scrolling and half an hour later, you wonder where did the time go? And you've just been scrolling like some machine. And honestly, afterwards, most of the stuff don't really add any value for you. It's just pure entertainment and pure time wasting. And it's actually interesting. You can open your phone, and most of the phones these days show you the amount of screen time and the apps you spend the most time on. And it's really shocking if you consider that you have 24 hours in a day, how much time we waste on these devices. And recently I found an amazing tool that helps me to eliminate the amount of time that I'm spending on those platforms. And that's called Newsfeed Eradicator. It's a Chrome extension that you can simply and for free install on your Chrome browser. And basically here, like you can see in this example, you open your Facebook, you will not see any feed. You can go to the person or page that you want, but you're not getting distracted by seeing any feed or stories or what have you, because then you go down the rabbit hole, right? The same for Twitter. So you can see here the sites that you can select on and off that you want to see any feed or not. Even on YouTube, you could block the home screen not to get any video recommendations, but actually please don't do so. Otherwise you won't be seeing my videos anymore. But yeah, obviously we live in a digital world. So I think you can't completely cut off all those ties. We are connected. A lot of us are using those platforms to actually run businesses. So I think disconnecting yourself completely is also bad, because you want to future-proof yourself. You want to know what's happening. You want to understand the apps and networks, but you want to use it to your advantage. You don't want to be run by them, but you want to use it whenever you have to, so it adds the most value to you, rather than the other way around, where you being fed content and just mindlessly scrolling and living other people's lives, so to say. And that's the part of reducing your consumption. The other part is creating more. And that really can mean anything. If you think you have a good voice or like to interview people, do a podcast. Even it can help to grow your business or your brand, build your personal brand. If you think you're good on camera or like to create videos, amazing. Start a YouTube channel, start a TikTok channel. I mean, there are endless opportunities, and I think it's important to put ourselves out there. And if you feel uncomfortable being yourself on camera, that's totally fine, right? You can still promote your brand by being behind the camera, but still you want to create content, because I think that's how people these days make their buying decisions. If you're selling a product, if you're selling a service, people go online, they're gonna Google, they want to see reviews, what people have to say about a specific service, product. So all of us, one way or the other, we're selling a service, we're selling a product, we're selling ourselves through a future employer, whatever it is, right? All of us are going to be searchable online. So you want to put your best version out there, and the more of you or your brand is there in good quantity and quality, the higher the chances people will follow you or buy your products or hire you, whatever may be the case. But I think that's, once again, super important to produce more rather than mindlessly scrolling and following other people's lives and agenda. Take your life in your own hands. Take responsibility, because only you have full control about yourself. And I think that's the amazing part. Once we realize this, nobody else controls us but ourselves. And lastly, for myself, I invested in the course 1,000 euros, which was quite an investment, which has the goal of me building an online business. And that's really my mission for next year, to launch it and start generating revenue and profits obviously with that. So I need to start executing after work, on the weekends, on that vision, not just to have it sitting there, bought the course and feeling happy about it, but you need to take action. It's like doing push-ups, right? We can all talk about it and we all know it's probably good for you, but the least amount of people will actually physically do those push-ups. The same is true with having ideas and the vision. We all can come up with the greatest ideas and vision. It's really easy to do. The hard part is execution, executing on your goals. And here you see how it all comes full circle. All of those things are not one-time events. They have to be done consistently over time to get you to where you want to go, to become the best version of yourself and live your best year yet. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions on any of those points I mentioned, pop them in the comments below. I get back to every single one of you. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.